Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Look, if you've ever downloaded a fancy budgeting app or color-coded a spreadsheet to within an inch of its life, only to completely abandon it a few weeks later when life just got, messy, well, this is for you. I'm here to relieve you of the quiet shame and guilt of every single abandoned budget you've ever tried to stick to. Today, we're getting into exactly why I quit budgeting forever and literally never tracked my spending again. Seriously, what if the failure was never actually yours? What if the budget itself was the broken part all along? Let's explore why traditional tracking is fundamentally flawed, and instead, let's talk about building an automatic system that will replace it for good. So why do traditional budgets always fail? It's a question that haunts basically anyone who has honestly tried to manage their money. I mean, we tend to start fresh, right? Full of resolve. But eventually, a slow month hits, the tracking slips, and the whole plan just drifts away. And naturally, we usually blame our own lack of discipline. But I want you to consider that the system itself is what's broken, not you. A budget is a tool that supposedly builds discipline, but honestly, in reality, it just becomes a monthly reminder that you apparently lack it. The core reason why this system is so broken really comes down to something called decision fatigue. A budget forces you into hundreds of tiny micro-negotiations every single day. You're constantly asking yourself, can I afford this coffee? Does this fit into the grocery category? And let's be real, the sheer misery of manually logging a $4 coffee at 11 p.m. is enough to make absolutely anyone quit. By asking you to decide over and over, it completely drains your willpower. The more choices you make, the weaker your self-control becomes. This means your budget schedules its single hardest test, like say, staring down a $30 takeout menu when you're completely exhausted, for 7 p.m., exactly when your willpower tank is literally running on empty and you have absolutely nothing left to give. Asking your future self to somehow summon immense discipline thousands of separate times a year is a plan that depends on you never once being fully human. That is not a financial plan at all. It is simply a wish wearing a spreadsheet. Relying on willpower alone puts you in this daily fight with yourself, and that is a fight you simply cannot win forever.
So, to fix this, we need a massive paradigm shift. We're moving from budgeting to designing. See, budgeting is active. It requires endless willpower, constant tracking, and every single month, the job resets. Designing, on the other hand, is passive. You do the hard thinking a single time up front, while you're calm and clear-headed. You set the rules once, and the system enforces itself. This works because of one very simple rule. Money follows the path of least resistance. If we want a different outcome, we have to actually change the path.
The core philosophy here is to build the riverbed. You have to stop fighting the current and just let the water do the rest on its own. Think about it. If money naturally follows the path of least resistance, then the entire game is deciding in advance and only deciding once where that path actually leads. By redirecting the flow, we move away from the chaotic fight of manual tracking. We make saving and investing the automatic, frictionless default. And then we simply spend whatever is genuinely left over. Okay, so what does this riverbed actually look like in practice? Let's think of your money as a waterfall. Your paycheck lands at the very top and spills automatically downwards into 6 specific containers. You've got your hub, your investments, an emergency fund, bills, sinking funds, and finally, guilt-free spending. Let's break down exactly how this flow works step by step. So container 1 is the hub. This is your main checking account. Now, its role is deliberately narrow. Money lands here and money leaves here. But, and this is crucial, money is never meant to live here. It's a train station, not a home. Keeping a big, comfortable balance in this account might feel like safety, but honestly, it's really just money loitering around, waiting to be impulse spent on something you don't actually need. Plus, it earns you basically zero interest while it just sits there waiting. The really crucial point is what happens next. Container 2 is investing. On the exact day you get paid, before you can even see the money as spendable in your account, automatic transfers fire off. The very first pour goes directly to your future. This means capturing your employer's 401k match because, frankly, turning that down is basically like choosing to be paid less, and utilizing your IRA space. Take a woman named Nora, for example. She accumulated thousands in index funds simply because she automated a small slice of her paycheck. The money vanished before she could even spend it, and she barely noticed the difference in her daily life. Moving down the waterfall, container 3 is your emergency fund, which is meant to hold about 3 to 6 months of expenses. But where you put this money matters immensely. Take a guy named Malik. He kept his $25,000 emergency fund in a traditional bank, earning the national average of about 0.38%. That yielded him roughly $95 a year. But by spending just 20 minutes to move that money to a high-yield savings account, earning around 4%, that exact same money earns him roughly $1,000 in the same year. It's the same money, same safety, same access, just a vastly different and much smarter container. And this brings us to a number you simply cannot afford to ignore right now. 4.2%. That's the recent rate of inflation. Money sitting completely idle in a big traditional bank account earning 0.1% is not just politely waiting for you, it is actively shrinking. Doing nothing with your idle cash is like having a slow leak that actively strips away your purchasing power. You absolutely must put your savings in an account that actually respects it. Next up is Container 4, bills. Here, you take your predictable monthly obligations, stuff like rent, utilities, insurance, and you route a set amount into an account whose sole purpose is to pay them. By physically separating your fixed monthly obligations from your everyday spending money, you accomplish two huge things. First, you stop accidentally spending your rent money on a fun weekend out. And second, you erase that low-grade anxiety of uncertainty because you know exactly which dollars are promised where. Container 5 tackles sinking funds. These are amazing because they diffuse those quiet surprises ahead of time. I'm talking about those irregular annual expenses that normally blow traditional budgets completely apart, like car registrations or the holidays. Take a woman named Delea. She used to totally dread December, but then she started dividing the cost of the holidays evenly across 12 months. Now, a small automatic transfer feeds a dedicated holiday container all year long. When December finally arrives, the money is just waiting there, completely 100% guilt-free. And finally, we reach Container 6, guilt-free spending. This is the container that literally sets you free. After your future is funded, your emergencies are protected, and your bills are paid, whatever reaches this final account is fully yours to spend. Zero tracking, zero categories, zero apologies to a spreadsheet. It is pre-approved joy, entirely by design. Ultimately, the whole shebang boils down to this. Automating your money is making your best decisions permanent. You are making the decision one time at your sharpest, most rational state, and then building an architecture that protects those really clear choices from everything tired and tempted that comes afterward. Now, you might be listening to this and thinking, okay, this sounds great for a steady salary, but what if my income is wildly irregular? Like, what if you're a freelancer, a commission earner, or a tipped worker? People often assume a strict automated system will just buckle under the pressure of a chaotic, unpredictable paycheck. But actually, this system drastically outperforms a rigid budget in exactly these situations. In fact, this system is a total lifesaver for variable income. Take Terrence, for instance. He's a freelance designer whose income could literally double from one month to the next. Instead of using fixed dollar amounts, he uses fixed percentages. A chunk automatically flows to taxes, another to his future, another to bills, and the rest to spending. A big month pushes more into every single container. A lean month sends less. The chaotic income lands at the top, sure, but it feeds a perfectly steady and calm system underneath. And when you let this automated system run over time, you unlock compounding magic. Check this out. Someone automating just $500 a month into an index fund for 30 years will have personally contributed $80,000. But at an 8% average return, it grows to roughly $745,000. To put that into perspective, the vast majority of that wealth isn't money they sacrificed for. It's their money earned on its own. Automation simply removes the human element of having to remember to invest, ensuring the consistency required for compounding to actually work its magic. Now, if you're a nervous beginner, maybe terrified of the stock market, but knowing you still need to outpace inflation, where do you point that automated investing money? Well, bonds are a reassuring, stable first step, specifically government bonds. Right now, a 10-year treasury is paying somewhere around 4.4%. It's backed by the U.S. Treasury, and the interest is actually exempt from state and local taxes. It provides solid ground and dependable income to let your automated system do its patient work while you build up your confidence. So we've seen exactly why the old way of budgeting fails, leaning heavily on your willpower right when it's at its absolute weakest. And we've seen how money naturally follows the path of least resistance. The only question left is this. Are you going to keep exhausting yourself fighting the current, attempting endless restarts every January? Or will you finally build the riverbed and let your money find its own way home? The peace of mind is waiting for you. You just have to design it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now, go build your riverbed.